Hello and welcome to Sofa Talk on the Column UK with myself, George Curtis. Alongside me I've got Jack Sear. We're here to discuss all things Liverpool from the weekend and also look ahead to the coming weeks. Jack, we sit here as two very frustrated Liverpool fans having just watched the Reds go 2-0 up against Sunderland at home, only to throw it away in the most unbelievable fashion again. What is going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I think a lot of people at the start of the game today looked at Sturridge obviously on the bench and probably thought he'd come on and save it. But at 2-0 up, I think I agree with, I think it wasn't Klopp today, it was Buvac, but I agree with him that he should have brought Lucas on and not Sturridge at that stage of the game because you're looking to close the game out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Defoe's goal, it's Sacco again really for me, and Mignolet obviously we wouldn't have that whole issue if it was at 2-0 still. Because I think Johnson's goal was savable. Mignolet got down there and then just didn't go for it and couldn't keep it out. But I don't know, it's a tough one. I feel a bit sorry for him because obviously I feel a bit sorry for Klopp because obviously 2 more injuries today, and then you've got the fans walking out in the 77th minute. Obviously, probably justifiable, but he'll probably want the fans at least back in the team. It was huge for him at Dortmund.
Yeah.
And obviously another poor result and another game in a few days' time, which he probably, doesn't want. I mean, we could have won that West Ham game the other day and we wouldn't have another game for a few days later.
Yeah. I mean, that's a nice little summary of the game. If we sort of go back to the beginning and go over it in a bit of detail, the first half was very much just attack via defence. Sunderland put everyone behind the ball. Liverpool, there almost wasn't a formation with Liverpool. We had Nathaniel Klein on the right, who was almost an advanced right winger. Moreno on the other side, and then the 2 centre halves on the halfway line just completely not in the game. And it was so hard to break down Sunderland. Obviously got into the second half, game opened up a bit, managed to get the first goal, and that was a key. It was a brilliant ball in by Milner, and Firmino was probably our best player
without a doubt.
on the day, finishing it off. To go 2-0 up, that was the game in the bag. So to throw it away from that point was really unforgivable.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I feel a bit sorry again for Klopp options wise. I mean, you've got Sturridge and Coutinho and Origi coming back now, but I think you mentioned the formation at the start. I don't really think he had another option really. I mean, against Leicester, the team was similar. The only change today was Allen in for Lucas, and against Leicester he set up with this 4-4-2. He sort of had Lallana up with Firmino, which isn't ideal.
Yeah.
And then today, I think he tried to accommodate him a bit better, and it literally was just the 2 defenders at times. Klein and Moreno were offering the width, and I mean there were better signs at times, but you'd expect that at home to Sunderland. And then the injury occurred. Ibe came on, and the system changed again a bit more of a similar, more familiar formation to 4-2-3-1. And the second half, like you say, game looked in the bag, played some really good stuff. Firmino was the shining light without a doubt. It's just the defence again. I mean, defence and attack, all our build-up play in the middle, absolutely fine, really good. Dominated at Leicester, which not many teams go and do.
Yeah, I think you guys at home would agree as well that it's when we get into the final third, there's just a complete lack of creativity at the moment. Without Coutinho, who can unlock a defence, there's nothing really. You've got James Milner on the right, who's not renowned for playing defence-splitting passes. You've got Lallana, whose end product still isn't good enough for a Liverpool starting 11.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, we were talking mid-game, but Lallana is a strange one because when he came, everyone thought good signing. He has all the kind of the build-up and the link-up play, but he's also got an end product. He just hasn't had that at all at Liverpool.
No.
I mean, he got the goal today, and build-up play, like I say, really good. And Firmino, linking up with him has been a lot better. But I don't know. It's just that there's no real standout performers in this Liverpool team. You look at from the last few years, we've been watching Suarez, Gerrard, Torres in previous years, and Sterling, Sturridge when he's fit. It's all very samey. It's Lallana, it's Milner, who are good players in their own right, but there's no real star. And I think Firmino is probably our closest to that.
But if we're having to play Firmino up front, you're taking away his creativity slightly further back, and you've not got a number 9
Mm.
that's good enough,
Yeah,
really.
I think-
Especially Benteke. I mean, everyone's got their opinion on Benteke. He's not good enough.
Yeah. I think in an
At the
ideal
moment.
world, yeah, without a doubt. And I think in an ideal world, I mean, he's tried Firmino and Benteke, and he said it hasn't worked, and it didn't, to be honest.
Mm.
I think in an ideal world, he'd like Firmino up there, maybe just behind the more fluid striker. I think Sturridge. I think that could be
Yeah,
a great combination, or if not Origi or even Ings. I mean, Ings would have been the perfect top striker, and
Yeah.
you never know. It's so unfortunate of Ings because it could have been literally, he could have had. He was just getting into it. I mean, he got into the England team, and he could, probably wouldn't have done as well as Vardy's doing. But
no.
he'd have had his sort
He
of
was
season.
just starting to tip
Yeah,
when he got
absolutely.
injured.
And he's been ideal. I mean, his pressing game and stuff. So hopefully the return of Sturridge and Origi now can maybe push us on a bit. But
Yeah. Do you think he should have started Jordan Ibe?
yes, I do. I think having watched the Leicester game, just didn't have much in attack. No one really running direct and stuff.
That's it. Ibe's the one sort of direct player.
Yeah, and he
that
looked
we've
good,
got.
didn't he, when he came on? I mean,
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
just beating a few players for fun. It's just his end product he needs to work on. But
Yeah.
I think that'll come with games. And ever since he's still very young, of course, but ever since he's come in, it's been a bit stop-start for him, in and out.
Yeah.
But I would have started him. Yeah, I mean, I'd have started Allen, and he did, and obviously he went off injured. And I'd have made a couple of changes in defence. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, going into the defence,
Mm.
obviously, they didn't have a great deal to do in the first half, at least, and then it came to the second half, and we went 2-0 up, and Sunderland obviously made that attempt to get back in the game. We got a free kick, and Mignolet's got to save that.
I think
Surely,
so.
I mean, he's got there, and it's squirmed underneath him. Again, it just raises more questions about him being Liverpool's number 1 for the foreseeable future. He's just signed a new 5-year contract. Klopp obviously wants to give him that chance, but he's surely not good enough to play for Liverpool as our number 1 goalkeeper.
yeah, I'd agree. I mean, you're looking at his game today. There's a lot of mistakes yet
Yeah.
again.
It's those little
throw
mistakes,
out,
isn't it?
yeah.
The throw out in the second half. I think it was 2-1 at the time, and just threw it straight to Kirchhoff. I think it was.
Yeah.
It's so poor.
It's the little things like that. I
Yeah.
mean, they are the things you have to get right as a goalkeeper. Certainly playing for Liverpool Football Club, you need to be good at all the simple
Yeah.
things and a lot more. And his shot stopping, I mean, he kept us in the game for quite a while at Leicester. Has been good. I mean, I'd have expected him to save that Johnson free kick.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a hand
But
on it.
even that wasn't there today. And I don't know what Klopp's thinking is with the 5-year contract. I mean, I can only assume. I mean, we've been linked to Schmeichel and
Yeah.
a couple of half-decent keepers. I can only assume he's planning on bringing in some pretty good competition for him.
Yeah, I think that's what he's lacking. I mean, since he arrived at the club, really, he's had no one brilliant, no one quality to really push him. You know, Brad Jones and Adam Bogdan, they're obviously not good enough, but it's a strange one. And then going on to the second goal, it was Sacco again inside the penalty area, backing off and got too tight to the foe, managed to turn him, smashed it in.
Yeah, he's the player that splits so much opinion, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
absolutely.
I think even the people now that are saying, yeah, he's underrated, are also seeing he does without doubt have this clumsy side.
Yeah.
Um,
His positioning against Leicester was awful for the second
Yeah.
goal.
yeah, I mean, that was the one that really stood out to me as well. I mean, letting the ball bounce like that is you just don't do that. It's
No.
suicidal.
And he's done it. He did it again against Sunderland. There were times when it was launched long, and he'd hesitate, and the
Yeah.
ball would bounce. And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think heading and general defending and blocks, he'll get in the way of anything.
yeah,
More often than not, anyway. But general positioning, I don't know. Like, he's just not good enough to be a first or a
no,
second choice.
it leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
You were talking in the game about Dejan Lovren being probably our best centre half
Yeah.
at the moment, and he went off very early with an injury, and Joe Allen as well, which appears to be a hamstring injury. Just awful luck again with injuries. So that leaves Toure, Sacco, and Kulka now as our 3 central defensive options, possibly for the next 3 weeks, with Skirtle picking up another little knock on top of his hamstring injury. Where do you see Liverpool's defence going from here? Is it Toure and Sacco? Just Kulka get a game?
I think he'll stick with Toure and Sacco, yeah, because Sacco did show before his injury that he can be very good. I mean,
Yeah.
that is when I thought, oh, hang on a sec, maybe he's going to push on and become an established first teamer. But since coming back from his injury, I mean, he's just been unreliable, and that is the thing with him as well. He's just so unreliable with injuries.
Yeah.
If you're at a top club like Liverpool, Klopp will want to have two solid first choice centre halves that are fit more often than not.
Yeah.
Playing week in, week out, building up a really good partnership, but with Saka you just don't get that. So yeah, I think it will be Toure and Saka. I mean, obviously we don't know how long Lovren will be out for. It didn't look anything too serious, but it's very frustrating because he has been the standout under Klopp.
Yeah, he's definitely improved a lot since he first came to the club. Obviously, a lot of money spent on him.
Yeah.
But this season, he has had a number of good games. Issues at the back, issues in attack, issues with set pieces in both areas as well. I think a lot of talk has been made about our defending of set pieces, but attacking as well. A, we haven't really got anyone who's a reliable set piece taker, and B, we can't seem to score. And we've been talking in the game about how we take outswinging corners, and it just makes no sense to us why that's the case.
I think it's been Klopp's thing since he come in the outswinging corners. I've noticed he's had Moreno taking the ones on the left.
Yeah.
And Milner or Henderson or Coutinho or Lallana or whoever on the right. But like you say, it's difficult because it's basically two headers to get it in. It just seems to be one of Klopp's methods. But
I don't know the stats, but I struggle to recall a goal that we've scored from a corner this season, particularly an outswinging corner.
In terms of set pieces, like you say, we don't really have a number one set piece taker. But I'll tell you what I thought was good. Against West Ham, Brannigan, he swung in good ball after good ball. And you're just wondering, well, because he did more in that game than I'd say someone like James Milner has done all season. It's a goal threat, he's putting in good tackles, set pieces look good. And I just wondered how long it'll be until Klopp starts to think, well, maybe I've got to give these guys a go, because they got a point against West Ham at home, against a strong West Ham team. And then you're looking today...
Well, it was a cup game, but...
Yeah. You're looking... Yeah, that's true, actually. But then you're looking today at our team, and a lot of people set us our first choice in the circumstances, and they just, 2-2 to Sunderland, not good enough.
Well, I mean, talking of James Milner, what is his role in this team? Because he started off playing central midfield, which everyone believed to be his best position and where we needed him. And he's ended up now playing on the right, and not really providing much on the right. I mean, he's not got the pace to be a winger. He's not really got the playmaking abilities to be a playmaker from that area. And when you've got someone like Jordan Ibe on the bench who's so direct and he's got that pace, yes, he's inconsistent, he's still young and raw. It begs the question what Milner is doing in the team.
I agree. I think he can do his job in either position, really. I'm not sure he does particularly have the best position. I don't know what that says about him. I think his engine in midfield can be handy, but he's another one. He's like Lallana. Like, I did expect more of him, to be honest. The second half of last season, he was banging in a lot of goals for City.
But even though City played him on the right as well. I mean, he rarely played in the middle.
With the attacking options we've got, when fit, of course, I'd say he probably isn't a wide option.
No.
He wasn't. Roger said he saw him as a central midfielder, and then Klopp's come in and played him wide a bit.
Yeah.
Just basically because of the systems he prefers and whatnot. But I don't know. I did expect more from him, and I wonder next season after a transfer window whether he will be seen as a first team, first 11 option.
Yeah, I mean, he's seen as this reliable player and he's got his energy, but I don't think we really need that when we've got players like Joe Allen, Emre Can, Jordan Henderson.
They're all the same,
very similar. And I don't know what Klopp's plans are for summer. Maybe Joe Allen will go, which will sort of give Milner more of a purpose, but it's very confusing. Daniel Sturridge didn't get on the pitch, but he's back in training, and it was a surprise to see him on the bench in the first place, because a lot of the talk had been that he was doubtful even for the West Ham game, the FA Cup game. So that was a surprise. Do you think Klopp will start him against West Ham? How do you think we're going to approach going forward with Sturridge? It's now or never for him now.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he was expected to start the Southampton game that he did a few weeks back, and we saw the damage he did there.
Yeah.
Maybe him being on the bench today is a sign that he is more ready than initially thought.
Yeah.
So quite possibly, yeah.
The question with him is whether Liverpool will sell him or continue to risk, continue to gamble on his fitness. Personally, I would hold on to him. I think he's absolutely brilliant when he's fit.
Yeah.
I think there are ways to get him fit. I think he will get fit. What would you do? Sell?
Well, I think unless you get an incredible offer, which I don't think at this stage you will, I'd definitely keep hold of him because, like you say, when he is fit, he's
One of the best
in the
in
league,
Europe.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also he'll be thinking, where do I go after this? I mean, there's been reports today that maybe even Chelsea or
A big sort of top four.
City, but I don't know whether they would. I don't know whether they would gamble on him, but I do think, and it does look like Klopp will go for a more reliable goal scorer this
Yeah.
summer. Obviously, keeping him fit would be fantastic, but I'll keep him because when he's fit, he's available and he's absolutely deadly. He's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
So.
Where would that leave Benteke? Because you've got Danny Ings, who would presumably come straight back into the team. Sturridge, when fit, is brilliant. You've got Firmino, who's excelled playing in that role. And
Well, I
then
think-
Benteke's just this square peg.
Well, it all
who's-
depends really on system. I think the early signs are that Klopp would ideally like to play the two strikers.
Yeah.
It's sort of different to how he did at Dortmund. Maybe Firmino a bit more withdrawn, but
Yeah.
even without Firmino, then say we brought in another striker, we'd have 5 strikers for 2 positions.
Yeah.
But Sturridge is obviously injury prone. Benteke gives you another option. I think. I mean, he obviously looked at him when he was at Dortmund by the sounds of things, and he was quite impressed with him as a player.
Yeah, I mean, Klopp's sort of gone out of his way to
yeah,
defend
and I think
Benteke. And
the thing is with Benteke, when he plays, yes, he doesn't play well, but he does get more goals for us than any other player does. His finishing's good. He gets into the right areas. He can
Yeah.
obviously bully defenders, and he does have a bit of everything to his game. But I think they'll work on him a bit and give him a pre-season. He's obviously got the
Yeah.
Euros this summer.
he
And-
costs a lot of money, so
Exactly.
Liverpool
yeah.
aren't just going to give up on him.
Exactly. And are they going to make a profit on him? Most certainly not,
No,
at
definitely not.
32.5 million. So I think they'll try at the very least to get
Yeah.
a bit more out of him, because it's needed, because he is on his day a very, very good Premier League striker.
It'll be interesting to see how he and Sturridge work together, or he and Danny Ings, because they've not had the opportunity to do that yet. It's just been Benteke up front or Firmino up front.
Yeah,
So when he's linking up with Sturridge or Ings, it might be a completely different
absolutely.
story.
I mean, we saw at Southampton, Sturridge and Origi played
Yeah.
together, and
They were
they
lethal.
great.
Yeah.
They're absolutely brilliant. It was almost
Yeah,
like
Origi's
the
another
Rodgers
one. I
days.
mean, where's he going to fit into the team? There's a lot of options once everyone's fit for Klopp to think about, and then he wants to bring in another striker. So
Well, I think with Klopp, at least you know that he will give these players a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, Origi was sort of the forgotten man when he arrived, and straight away it was because of injuries, but he put him into the team against Tottenham and said, no, this guy's a really good young player, we want to work with him. Because he was being written off by a lot of Liverpool fans, which is silly really when he's only 19, 20. But I think he'll give each player a chance.
yeah. Going forward, obviously we've got a lot of fixtures coming up.
Yep.
There's the potential to be playing midweek, every week to the end of the season, more or less. Do you think Klopp's going to prioritise certain competitions? You know, we've got the Europa League against Augsburg, we've got West Ham in the FA Cup, we've obviously got the League Cup final. How's Klopp going to juggle all these competitions?
I think, well, judging by his comments in the last week or two, he does see Premier League. He kept saying Premier League. I think he said the other week Premier League's the priority, and that is the main competition. I think his term was.
But
I
after
think-
the result
yeah.
against Sunderland, I mean, we're way behind because Tottenham won.
Yeah, it's a tough one to call. I think he won't want to finish somewhere like 9th in the Premier League this season. I mean, we were both discussing would it be beneficial not having Europe. And
Yeah.
to be fair, it probably would.
Well, I mean, you saw the benefits of not having Europe
A couple of years
a
ago.
couple of years ago when we nearly won the title, and I know we had a fit Sturridge and we had Suarez firing on all cylinders, but you know, there's not that distraction
Yeah.
of Europe.
Um,
You play less games, you don't play midweek, you keep players fit.
Yeah,
So-
it's a tough one, but I think the signs at the moment are that he still is going to prioritise
Yeah.
the Premier League. I mean, again today, he played his strongest team, but like you say, Europa League, we win that, we're getting the Champions League. However unlikely that may be, because some of the teams in that now are
There's some
really
strong
good.
teams, yeah, and we're in the League Cup final anyway. If we win that, we're in Europe.
Yeah,
If we get to the FA Cup final, we're in Europe automatically. So
very true.
avoiding Europe's going to be quite hard.
Yeah, I think a lot of it though as well for Klopp is getting used to the league. He'll probably want to put out his idea of his strongest team in the Premiership
Yeah,
ahead of next season, um, just to see what he's got, what he can work with, how he sets up the best way to attack the league, sort of thing. So it's probably in his thinking as well.
yeah. Another talking point from the week, Liverpool target Alex Teixeira has made a massive move to China. He's followed a lot of players who have recently gone there, the likes of Ramirez from Chelsea, Jackson Martinez has gone there. Surprised by that because it sort of came out of nowhere. I mean, we were pushing for a deal on deadline day. It never looked like it was going to materialise. There was the possibility of it coming up again in the summer, but suddenly he's gone to China.
Yeah, I mean,
£38 million.
it did come out of nowhere, yeah, but then I think they all did. I mean,
Yeah.
Ramirez and everyone was like 25 million for
Yeah.
Ramirez, but
There's a lot of money in the Chinese league.
absolutely. I think Klopp said yesterday, if you're being offered a deal like that, you do at least think about it.
Yeah.
And by the sounds of things, it was Klopp's decision to not pay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money.
So I'm sure he's got his eye on other players in the summer and stuff. It is a shame, but to be honest, I mean, the only thing that I was quite optimistic about was the fact that Ian Ayre supposedly went out there to
Yeah.
negotiate a deal. But when you look at all the other things,
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
yeah, of course. But none of the other boxes are really ticked when you think Ukrainian club, who obviously we were miles apart with the valuation.
Yeah, well, I think they're notoriously difficult to negotiate with as well. I mean, Manchester City dealt with them with the Fernandinho transfer, and that was a bit of a
You basically got to
wrangle.
pay up or they're not interested
Yeah,
at all. And
yeah, exactly.
From the early stages, there was a good 14 million
Yeah.
away at the very least in,
Yeah.
in valuation.
Absolutely. So going forward, summer transfer market, what sort of players is Klopp looking at? Obviously, goalkeeper. I think he's looking at a backup goalkeeper. You've
I
got
should think so,
maybe a
yeah.
central defender, a ball-playing midfielder, a winger, a striker. There's a lot of positions that
There
need
is.
filling. Left back even, because Moreno's performances are coming under scrutiny. There's a lot of money needed to be spent on that team, but we've already done that.
Now, this is the intriguing thing. Is he going to go all guns blazing? I think his first transfer window at Dortmund, he sold something like 14, brought in 10.
Yeah,
Sort of similar to what Rodgers has done the last couple of seasons. So
Yeah.
he could go with that strategy and just try and get as much done as possible. Or he could say, you know what, I'm going to trust in these players. I'm just going to add in these certain areas.
yeah. FSG are going to back him. I mean, they can't appoint him
Yeah.
and then not back him with the funds.
I think position-wise, you're looking at, like you say, goalkeeper. I think he will bring in one. I think Bogdan will go, and then you're left with
Yeah.
just Ward and Mignolet.
But Danny Ward is impressed on loan at Aberdeen. He's very highly rated at the club. I mean, I would hate to think that they'd want to send him out on loan again.
Yeah.
And, you know, he needs a chance. I mean, maybe give him a chance in the first team if Mignolet's performances continue to deteriorate.
Yeah,
You've got someone like Danny Ward,
yeah,
who's
I
a
agree.
good young player.
I mean, the thing is, he is, I think, 22. So he's, if it's not this season, going to be wanting to go out and get games. I think Liverpool might be looking at him as maybe a third choice. We'll have to see how he does in
Yeah.
pre-season. They're probably just watching him pre-season before making the decision: do we need another keeper or not? But given a Mignolet a 5-year contract, sort of says that he's going to be the first choice.
Yeah,
And the keeper they bring in, they're not going to bring in any more than competition for him.
yeah.
I can't imagine that they're going to go, for a big.
Someone
a
like
big
Ter
signing.
Stegen.
Yeah, I
mean,
doubt it. And then moving into outfield positions, I think right back now with Flanagan, you've got Klein and
Yeah.
Flanagan, good options.
And Flanagan obviously can play on the left as well, which is a bonus. And that's probably where his best performances for Liverpool
Yeah.
came in that close title run season.
Left back, I think we most definitely need a player. I think I've said I do like Moreno, but I think he's obviously still very young. He's got a
Yeah.
lot to learn.
I mean, we've been linked with Ben Chilwell from Leicester.
Yeah, I mean that was an interesting one because I think a lot of people would say they need quite an experienced
Yeah.
guy there.
And then you've got Joe Gomez as well.
Yeah.
When he comes back from injury, he's naturally a centre half.
Yeah,
And I don't know what Klopp
Yeah.
wants to do with Gomez going forward. Rodgers obviously played him on the left because he didn't have faith in Moreno, but whether Klopp wants to give him a role in the centre
Yeah.
or bring someone else in.
I'd like to see him given a go in the centre
Yeah.
for sure. Because
He
he's
looks
a sort of
composed.
outstanding talent.
Yeah, and composed ball player. He looked good defensively, especially in the 0-0 draw
Yeah.
at Arsenal.
But I
Really
do think they
impressed.
probably do need another left back, just even for just a bit of balance. I'd be
Yeah.
looking at a left footed central midfielder as well.
Yeah, I
Because
mean
Moreno,
Granit Xhaka is one that
Yeah.
we've been linked with as well.
yeah, he's. I mean, you're looking at Chan and Henderson in the middle. I think they're two players that probably will play a big part in our midfield in the
Yeah.
next few years, but they do need more competition. I think Alan probably will go.
Yeah,
Lucas, I think he, unless they get a really good offer, will probably stay because he's experienced, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Klopp seems to be quite a big fan of
they
him.
rely on him quite a lot.
Yeah, and then obviously we've got Grujic coming in. We'll have
Yeah.
to see how well he does in the summer. So midfielders, I think one or two, definitely.
Yeah.
And then centre backs, obviously been linked with Matip. I think that would be a great signing on the
Yeah.
free. I think the interesting trend seems to be these targets seem to be quite big in height. He's
Schalke
6'4".
have offered him a new contract, so I mean that could determine.
But it all depends on whether they've put their feelers out already, Liverpool, and if
Yeah.
Klopp's spoken to him. Because if Klopp has, I can't imagine Matip's going to be too keen on staying there. But I think he'd be great. And then, to be honest, I don't know if they will, but I'd bring in another really good centre half. So you've got the likes of Lovren, you've got Matip,
Yep.
you've got Gomez, and then Skirtle's he's reliable at times, but I wouldn't have him as a first choice.
There's always
But
that
just have to
sense
see
of
how much they
Skirtle
want
that
to do.
he's gonna make a mistake, make a big mistake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of money needs to be spent on that team. I think a winger or two as well
Yeah.
would go down nicely. We've not got a lot of pace other than Ibe.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
he's still raw.
the link to Teixeira, really, it was quite surprising he was a target, because that sort of said to
Yeah.
me, because Teixeira as a player, he's a number 10 and he would lead your attack.
Yeah,
He's
been
class
playing.
act.
He has been playing up front for Shakhtar, but he's not your number 9. He's almost a false 9, a number 10.
Yeah.
Can also play wide if needed to, and it's just another player
I think, yeah.
of similar
Well,
calibre. Not,
that-
maybe not calibre, but similar style to what we've already got, and that's like you say, interesting.
Yeah.
It would also suggest if Klopp's looking at those sorts of players that Lallana possibly is on his way out, which wouldn't be of a great surprise given his contributions this season.
It's a tough one, really, because I think, as I was saying, Teixeira, I think, would have been an indication that he's really looking to strengthen the spine of the team. He's a class act,
Yeah.
Teixeira, and he would have given Firmino a lot of good support. So I think, based on that, we probably are going to be looking at one, at least probably 2 or 3 attacking players again. Lallana, like you say, hasn't done much, but I think we'll probably, for at least another season, we'll try and work with him.
Yeah.
This is another player we've brought in for big money. You're not going to make much of a profit with him. So I don't know. Like you say, Ibe's the only proper winger we've got. I mean, Leroy Sané was the one mentioned, but he'd
Yeah.
have been great. But he's now being
It
linked with the
might
big
be
boys,
worth.
hasn't
Moreno has received a lot of criticism for his performances, mostly on the defensive side. It might be worth scrapping him as a left back and using him as an out-and-out winger, because his strengths are going forward.
he? Yeah.
Pace.
Even so, like his end product isn't there. So I'll like you've seen that chance he had against Leicester where he
Yeah.
was in the box. Firmino played him
Blasted
through.
it over, yeah.
And so many times he does that. He's crossing, he's good at times, but a lot of the time it's just very inconsistent.
Yeah.
He's not really aiming for anyone. So I don't know about that. I think you've got to look for better. I think you've got to try and upgrade in them areas with proper out and out wingers.
Yeah. Just a final word to finish off. The under-18s had a very successful night. The other night against Nottingham Forest, Brooks Lennon impressed. I mean, talking about wingers and the lack of. Brooks Lennon
Yeah.
is a very quick, direct winger, and he put in a brilliant performance against Nottingham Forest. Set up Herbie Kane for the first goal with a fantastic run from their own half.
Yeah.
It's exciting to have players like that. There's a lot of under-18s that are highly rated, likes of Jan Damda as well. So Klopp will obviously be looking to get those players up. He's shown already his sort of penchant for bringing through young players. Cameron Brunning's got a chance. Brad Smith, Connor Randall, a lot of players getting a chance under Klopp.
Yeah, I think the thing is with our young players, there's a good 4 or 5 wingers there, even older than Lennon. You've got Ojo, you've got
Yeah.
Wilson, Ken,
Yeah.
Canos, who's now at Brentford. They couldn't, last season, watching the under-21s, they had to kind of rotate them because
Yeah.
they're all best out wide.
Yeah.
Ojo's obviously come in and he scored that great goal against Exeter,
Yeah,
and
brilliant
Klopp
goal.
seems to be really excited by him. But he's also very much kind of, no, he needs to progress with the under 21s.
Yeah.
I'm bringing him back. I don't want him getting ruined somewhere where we don't really have control
Yeah.
of his development. Wilson hasn't really kicked on quite yet. He's still quite young. Kent has come back from Coventry, having done well. But Ojo seems to be, the favoured one.
Yeah.
And Canos, they haven't brought back because actually, I think Canos is the youngest of the lot, quite possibly, and he does actually seem to be kicking on quite well. He's got a great goal already.
Yeah, brilliant
So
goal. Yeah.
there is the options there in terms of young players with the wingers, but I think Klopp, he'll be looking for better. He'll
Yeah.
be looking for established, really good. You see with the Teixeira, everyone was quite surprised because he has been linked with Chelsea, Juventus, PSG type teams.
Yeah.
But he'll be looking for proper, Premier League class, if not world class players.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, that's about all we've got time for on Sofa Talk on the Column UK. Thank you very much to Jack.
No problem at all.
You can find us on Twitter at the Column UK, on Facebook as well at the Column UK. Myself, George Curtis at Curtis of George, Jack Sear at Jack Sear. Join us again next time. Thank you very much.